This week on the Steam Machine Podcast, what the fuck did we just play? Cue the music. Hey everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the Steam Machine Podcast. My name is Dalton, and joining me this week is my good buddy.
Hey, what's up? It's Willie. Just making sure everyone's still doing well out there. How's it going?
Yeah. And this week it's just me and Willie. We called an audible because Nate is feeling under the weather. So we decided to push Borderlands a week, and we chose a short game, kind of a la how me and Nate did Creevers. And me and Willie settled on a little game called Paganitzu. But before we get to... Oh, go ahead.
Yes, please. No, all you.
I was just going to say, before we get to that, have you, what you been playing this week, man? Anything interesting? Any Doom runs or anything?
So, someone gifted me Valheim recently, which I'm actually really surprised by, because a lot of people, played Valheim like 6 months ago, and then someone who I hadn't talked to in about a year just blew out of the ether and said, hey, here's a copy of Valheim. So I haven't played it yet, but I'm interested in trying it. I just don't know if people are still playing this game, you know?
Oh, I have that. So just let me know if you want to check it out. I'll hop on with you.
That'd be awesome.
It's interesting.
And yeah, I feel like it's like the way people describe it to me, it feels like it should be like Norse Minecraft almost, but like
exactly
with an epic adventure scale.
Yeah. It's exactly what it is. It reminds me of like Norse Minecraft with a little bit of God, I want to say World of Warcraft, but it does not control like that at all. It's just that's the vibe.
But with like the leveling and the scaling and such.
Yeah, and just the way your characters move and stuff just reminds me very much of that style of game. But it's fun. I had a blast when all of us were playing. You know, because that was a game that we could have like 10 to however many people on at once. Well, that's what's up, man.
I'm trying to figure out if there's anything else I've been playing a lot of recently that was super interesting. I've been thinking about getting back into Trails to make sure we finish it up before we pull it up for Trails SC. That's really cool, and Nate started to play the game recently, so like that does push me forward a little bit, because like I would love him to be there for Trails SC. Oh
yeah, I'd like all three of us to be on that one for sure.
And, like, the game was going really well. It was super cool, really fun, and, like, I feel a little derelict. Like, there were so many games last year that we played that I just didn't finish, and that's one of the ones that I would finish even if we didn't have, like, plans to go forward, but, like, I feel I have to. Like, it was so cool. Such a great game.
Yeah, I don't expect you to finish all the games that we play, but that's one that I hope you do, because the ending was so good.
Yeah,
it was so good.
And I'd love to get there, find out what happens.
For sure. I have.
How about you? What have you been up to?
I have been playing Star Wars: The Old Republic. I've been fucking around with that. My buddy Dustin just got himself a PC, and I got him in the Discord. So shout out to Darth Torm.
Hey,
he is my resident Star Wars encyclopedia. If I need to know anything, I can ask him, and he'll be able to tell me about that. And about how it was in the books and how it was in the non-canon fan fiction stuff. And then he'll tell me the movie canon. And then he'll tell me the book canon. And then he'll tell me the movie canon again, just so I remember. So
this is the kind of guy who has like all the deuterocanonical and beyond sources. Remember, it's like he'll know what a TIE Defender is.
Yeah. Oh, dude, yeah. And he could probably tell you the first year it was made and who created it. You know, he knows so much about Star Wars, it blows my mind. So anytime I have questions or anything like that, I go to him. So he asked me, or when he told me that he had gotten his computer and stuff, I said, oh, I've been playing the Old Republic. And he was like, oh, motherfucker, I'll reinstall it. So I might start playing some of that with him now and then. That should be fun. Having a blast. Made a Jedi. Got him to a Jet. I think I used a Jedi Knight. So he's just a single lightsaber wielder. But then I also have a Sith Marauder, I believe it's called, which is dual lightsabers. He's pretty cool too. And then, of course, I made the Darth Maul race and gave him a double-bladed lightsaber. I had to have one of those. I haven't played him yet, but he's there. Other than that, I've been fucking around with this MMO also called Shroud of the Avatar, which is okay,
I think you've mentioned that this is related. Like, this is a Richard Garriott production, is it not?
It is.
It's like a Lord British is back in town.
His spiritual successor to Ultima Online.
Nice. How does this differ from Tabula Rasa, which I thought was also supposed to be a spiritual successor to Ultima Online?
Well, I've never heard of Tabula Rasa until you brought it up the other day, and I forgot to look it up, so I can't tell you, sir.
No!
But I can tell you about Shroud, and if you know anything about that game, you can tell me.
All right.
So Shroud is like, you create your character, and you are the Avatar, as you are in most Ultima-themed things, and you're in Britannia. But it's very, I use the word sandbox, if that's not really the word I'm looking for. It's like, skill-wise, you can do whatever you want. Like, if you want to level bows, you just have to equip a bow and go shoot stuff, and you'll level your bow skill. You know what I mean? Or if you equip a sword, you can go do that. But then if you want to gather, like, you can just go chop a tree down, and you'll start getting your gathering skill for, forestry or whatever it is. And there's skills for everything, man. There's crafting, there's cooking, there's gathering. There's magic skills, there's combat, normal physical skills, and there's just so much to it. And then, like, you can own property. So, like, whenever I beat the whole tutorial area, they gave me a deed for a row house, is what it's called. It's like a house on the row. Well, the caveat with this...
Our house in the middle of our row.
Exactly. Oh man, I fucking love 80s music.
This is known. We could probably do a full ass episode about that.
Yeah, we could. If we ever need to call an audible, we could just talk about 80s music for a week. That's fine with me. But yeah, so like, I got a row. But the thing about the deed is it has to be in a player-owned town. So I go to the world map and I start running around. There are a fuckload of player-owned towns around, which I think is really cool. Like, there's like the towns for the normal game, but then there's all of these just little places that are like, this is, I'll call it Willyville, owned by Ice Brand. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, okay. So you go into the town, and this town's been designed by these people. Like, I went into one town, and the town was created as a museum of Shroud of the Avatar. So you could just run around, and there were all these different statues of enemies you could fight, and different like places you could go and that had weapons displays up. It was a really cool thing. And I'm like, man, these people really took the time to put in and make this just cool ass shit that you can come across. It's like, again, like Minecraft, you know what I mean? But
yeah, that's awesome.
I did end up finding a row house, and I was like, all right, I'll claim this one. I like this one. And I clicked on it, and it was like, the rent for this place is 250 gold a week for taxes. Just so you know. And I was like, oh, never mind. I can't afford, I have 1,000 gold to my name. I can't afford 250 gold a week yet.
Oh no, this is too real.
So that's my next goal, is to figure out how to make some gold in that game so I can have a house. And, but like, because that game's free, and I mean, technically Star Wars is free to play too, but I did subscribe to that for a month. Star Wars has a thing where if you subscribe, you get bumped up to like subscriber, obviously. But then if you let it pass, it drops you down to preferred instead of a free-to-play player, and you still get to keep all your DLC and stuff that you unlocked when you became a subscriber. So I figured $15 to unlock like 4 or 5 DLCs, not bad.
Yeah, pretty nice.
Or expansions, I mean, yeah, whatever it is. Anyways, yeah, Shroud of the Avatar. If you're a fan of Ultima Online, Dave, I'm specifically talking to you right now. Definitely check out Shroud of the Avatar. It's scratching an itch that I didn't know I had for a game where I can just go and kind of level what I want without having to choose any classes. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty cool. Other than that, I've been modding Oblivion, testing out different mod builds. The thing with Oblivion is it's not as stable as Skyrim because it's not, the engine's older. So like before you even start modding, you have to download this thing that makes Oblivion run. You have to run this, it's called the 4 GB patch executable. and it basically patches Oblivion to use 4 gigabytes of RAM instead of 2. And it's like from there you can start modding and doing stuff, and it's just it's an older system to work with, so it's easy to fuck it up, and I've been fucking it up a lot, but I'm learning, so that's what counts.
How's this going compared to modding the Anniversary Edition?
So the Anniversary Edition, luckily that's come along pretty quickly. Like, there's still a bunch of mods that haven't updated to it yet, but there are a lot of mods that I use that have updated to Anniversary compatibility. So that hasn't been so bad. There's still a few of the mod lists under my Wabbajack that straight up tells you this is not compatible with Anniversary Edition. But there are some now that have updated too, so that's cool as well.
Nice. Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah, it's been fun. And you know, it just makes me, like, all this stuff has been making me want to dive into the creator kit and see if I can't make my own mod. Or
yeah, for sure.
Take that system and learn it and try to make a game in it like they did with Forgotten City.
Yeah, the fact that people can make entirely original games within that, like, engine context is just freaking wild to me, you know?
Yeah, for sure. So, fun fact, there are actually 2 games on our list. Narim at Fate's Edge and Enderal Forgotten Stories, I believe is what they're called. So, Narim is a game made in the Oblivion, like they made it in Oblivion, but it's not Oblivion, it's its own game completely. New world spaces and everything. And then the sequel, they made the sequel to it in Skyrim called Enderal. So those are full-fledged games that are on Steam that you can download. I mean, you have to own Skyrim or Oblivion for them to technically work, but like you can just download them and we can play them. So one day, hopefully those come up on the list because I've always wanted to play them.
That sounds really awesome, actually.
Yeah. And like you said, you know, it's interesting that people can go into someone's game engine and make games. It's like Neverwinter Nights. You go on there and some of these modules that people have made that are far superior than the actual game. Like, people went in and made campaigns and stuff that just make the normal campaign look like a tutorial. It's really cool. I
don't know. It's so wild to me, the fact that, like, so many of these games from, like, 30 years ago, like, are still living. Well, maybe not 30, but, you know, like 20 plus years ago are still living based on, like, mod communities. Like, that brings me a lot of joy.
Yeah.
It makes me very happy.
Yeah, for sure.
And, like, even, like, games that are, like, technically still under support, like Team Fortress 2, for instance. Most of what gets added to that game is, like, user-made content at this point. Like, I don't know. It's awesome that the fans can extend the lifespan of a game because they love it that much.
It's like the old MMOs that aren't really around anymore, but you can still play them because people have private servers. Like City of Heroes. You know, like that was a game that I loved back in the day, and I looked it up one day and I'm like, oh, this game fucking went away years ago, but you could still play it on private servers. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Fuck, the Realm online is still around, and that was like 90s Sierra MMO, and there's still fucking private servers up for that. Actually, I think there's an actual server that you can pay for too, but I think everybody plays the private server. Anyway. Yeah. Speaking of old PC games, boy, did we play one this week.
Yep. Do you have any information you can spare with us before we jump into it?
I think I do. I think I have some obligatory Wikipedia bullshit.
All right.
Paganitzu, which I think I'm saying that right.
That is how I'm pronouncing it in my head as well.
Is a puzzle video game created by Keith Schuler and published by Apogee Software for the IBM PC compatibles in 1991. It is the sequel to Paganitzu. The player controls the character Alabama Al Smith.
Alabama Smith. I want y'all to make sure that you get this punchline here. The name is Alabama Smith. It's really funny and good.
Yeah.
The writing gets better sometimes. But
sometimes.
It's 1991.
And you work your way through an ancient Aztec pyramid while solving Sokoban-like puzzles. Paganitzu was published in 3 episodes: Romancing the Rose, The Silver Dagger, and The Jewel of the Yucatan. The first was distributed as shareware, and in 2015 it was re-released on Steam with Microsoft Windows and Mac OS support. I only played the shareware episode. I think you did too, right?
I finished the shareware episode and played the first 5 or 6 rooms of the second episode.
Okay, yeah. Romancing the Rose was the shareware episode, and
Yes, yes.
Well, let's see. Opening thoughts on this game. So when I first loaded it up, the graphics were quite nostalgic to me.
It definitely puts you in that EGA mind space. The game uses like the EGA menus and shit. It's a 16 color thing that uses the PC speaker as the only audio, like 320 by 200 graphics with 16 colors. Like, it throws you back hard into the early 90s of PC gaming.
Yeah, for sure. And like starting off, this game wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't hard at first. Like the first level they throw at you is very much just like you learn that you need to push a rock in front of a snake because the snakes will shoot, I'm assuming, venom at you.
Yeah, the first level is an extremely tutorial-y level that just like shows you like, you know, if you can't figure out, if you see the first level and you can't figure out how to beat it, this game isn't for you.
Yeah.
It's probably not for you for other reasons, but if you can't do that one, then you're a bad match for mutual reasons.
Yeah. So like the object of the game basically is to collect like keys in a level to unlock the exit and don't get killed in the process.
It's a top-down graphics game. You have like a bunch of tiles and you're walking through and basically you pick up keys to if you pick up all the keys you can actually get through the exit. But there's a lot of I don't know, boulder push. Like you said, it was a Sokoban based game, and that is a very big part of it. Like it's a large part about pushing boulders.
Yeah, definitely. Because that's how you described it to Nate. You were like, Nate, you remember Sokoban? And he's like, oh yeah, no thanks.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like some of the puzzles were very, what's the word I'm looking for? Obtuse.
It gets clever at times, and it gets too clever for its own good at times, and sometimes it thinks it's clever when it is not fucking clever. Yeah,
what was the, I sent a screenshot to our chat. Let me see if I can find it really quickly of some of the jokes that you would come across of things written on the wall. And some of them were funny. Some of them were very, very cringe. Yeah, you discovered an inscription on the wall that roughly translated reads, "Auditions for next week's sacrifice being held at Paganitzu. Teenage virgins only, please." It's like, all right, that's interesting. And then there was another one that said, "It's a song by that hit rock group Daggers and Roses. Take me down to the Paganitzu city where the grass ain't green and the girls ain't pretty."
A hilarious subversion of the line there. Not great. Some of the writing is pretty amusing. The writing at the end of episode 1 was actually kind of funny at times. But for the most part, like, the puzzle design was where this game was going to live and die, and I feel very medium about it. Yeah. I could sum up what Wikipedia says about episode 1, and then I want to know some of this information that you have gathered about it. Episode 1, it can be summed up with spiders can be killed by being cloistered in one square, which destroys anything but the walls and Alabama around them and leaves behind some gems. If water pipes are destroyed, the water will stop flowing. Certain spots teleport Alabama around the level. One trap Alabama will frequently face are spears that elongate and try to plunge into Alabama. Nice. I want to elongate and plunge into someone. Hey. Elongate and plunge into me.
There's a fucking Barry White song right there, or maybe Barry Manilow. I don't know, one of the two.
Barry Whitelow. Let's go.
Barry Buffalo.
Barry Buffalo.
Those traps can be disarmed by hitting something else that gets in their path as they elongate. Once disarmed, they block a certain amount of space. Also, there are snakes that spit fire horizontally if Alabama crosses their path, and to pass them, they must have an item, spider, or boulder blocking their view. Now, all that was super just like jumbled up. They typed that terribly, and that's exactly how the game is. Like,
yeah, it introduces elements really rapidly, and most of like the stakes are a really well done element in the game. Like the stakes are great.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Those are a good mechanic. The spiders can eat a dick.
Yeah, because the spiders they do a like naive thing where they like move forward and then they check if they could turn left or right depending on whether they're a left turning or right turning spider. And either way, it is really really hard to predict what they're doing when you're doing your thing, you know?
Yeah, and I also felt like that they would magnet to you. like if you were like 3 spaces away from it and it came by you and there was like a space or 2 between you, I felt like it would turn and come after you. And you couldn't be in the square next to him or they'd kill you.
Yeah, the way that the spiders work also is like if you're not moving and you are even in an adjacent square to the spider, it will kill you. So like you have to be moving or moving away from it. And I don't know, the spider mechanic seemed really poorly explained for what was a major mechanic of the shareware episode.
I was surprised that when you got killed that you fell into a big pile of blood and limbs.
Yeah, it gave you a little gore. It was a little fun that way.
I was just like, I didn't expect that from a game from 91. I don't know. I wasn't expecting gore to be prominent then. Yeah. I mean, other than movies.
This was from Apogee, who would go on to produce. They would be the publishers of Wolfenstein 3D. So you know, definitely they were not scared to put a little bit of blood and guts in their games.
Now, I know you know more about that. So do fill me in on Apogee. And you said you found some kind of cool things about this game behind the scenes. So.
Oh, absolutely. So there's a ton. So the reason when we wanted to get a substitute game, I said to Dalton, hey, let's find like a puzzle game that's like between like 2 and 4 hours to play. Because I thought, we would get something like Battle Chef Brigade out of the way because Nathan is out sick and he didn't like Battle Chef Brigade. Yep. So let's just clear him on something like that. But instead, when I saw this game, I was like, hey, shit, it says it's published by 3D Realms. Now, 3D Realms is the same company that now owns the Apogee trademark. So 3D Realms was not involved at all in making this game. But when I saw the name 3D Realms, I was like, holy shit, what if this game is to, Duke Nukem 3D as Commander Keen is to id Software? So I kind of wanted to dig deeper, and I was stymied for a while because it turns out this game was made by one fucking guy, Keith Schuler. Keith Schuler had made a previous game, Paganitzu, I think it was what it was called.
Paganitzu.
And Paganitzu was the prequel to this, and then he sent this to Apogee, and they were like, "Oh, this is great." So Apogee had created this shareware market where they would publish the first episode of your game for free and then sell the other 2 episodes. And that's how Wolfenstein got sold. You would buy the first episode, but then you had to pay money to get to the part where you actually kill Hitler, Yeah. When Doom came out, that was still riding the exact same high. It was the same market where they would give you not the shores of hell, Knee Deep in the Dead for free, but you'd have to pay to actually fight through hell, Yeah. So it's like, it was ahead of its time. And so I thought, surely this Keith Schuler guy, maybe, I didn't know the name. I just thought this game might be like super important, and maybe not. But then I did dig a little bit deeper. And as it turns out, Keith Schuler, before he did this, he just did like a checkers and chess game for like some microcomputer. It was something. But after that, he became a level designer for Duke Nukem and did some levels for the Plutonium Pack. So it's kind of similar to a lot of the guys that I'm like, fond of from the Ultimate Doom. Then he became the main level designer for the game Shadow Warrior, which was another game that used the same engine as Duke Nukem, but it was like the more martial arts themed, like Chinatown level game.
Shadow Warrior's fun.
And then he continued to keep on working for him, and it turns out he was actually one of the writers and game designers for the game we're taking a week off from, Borderlands.
No shit.
He actually wrote and designed a significant part of Borderlands.
Oh, what the fuck are the odds of that?
I know. I did not plan it that way. I was like, when I was digging through all this information, I was like, I thought I was going to find some connections. I finally found a connection.
Wow, there you go. I would not have expected that to come out. That's awesome.
But if you think about it, some of the like kind of like juvenile jokes in this game are like not too dissimilar from some of the ones in like Borderlands and all that. And like, I don't know, like I guess it actually does kind of make sense. And like the puzzle design in this game, I feel like it's medium tier because at times it's trial and error. But on the other hand, when you do get frustrated, you don't get frustrated for long. Each individual floor is kind of short and does give you enough that you can work with,
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it is unfair. I think it is not the game someone would make today, but I think that, like, when it does give you bullshit, you can solve it in 15 minutes.
Yeah. There was only one instance where like I went and watched a video on how the fuck I was supposed to do it.
The main problem I found was just the more I played it, the more I realized I don't like Sokoban puzzles very much.
Yeah, I quickly realized that too. It definitely like shows its age, you know what I'm saying? But like,
so there's things that does well and there's things that don't. Like I'll go ahead and say this: the audio is maybe the worst.
God awful.
The worst thing.
God awful.
So it uses the internal PC speaker that they used to have in these old computers, where you couldn't turn the volume up or down. It was just a little noise that would be like monotone. You couldn't make a chord for it. It would just beep, 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 beep. And yeah, it made the noise when you walked, and it made the noise when some things fell. And that was it. It was just terrible.
Yeah.
The graphics, on the other hand, it used the 16 color palette really tastefully in a lot of ways, I think. Like, I think that the main boulder graphic was actually really nice looking. Like, it used the brown and green and gray to make a really cool looking boulder.
Oh no, yeah. For the time, I thought, like, that's why I said when I loaded it up, I really enjoyed the way this game looked.
Unfortunately, I think the monster design was it looked really of its time and ugly.
The snakes almost reminded me of like the pre-evolution of like Star Tropics snakes.
Okay, I can see.
You know what I mean? Sure. Like,
yeah,
right before NES started pumping out the snakes and stuff on a better level. The spiders though were like red circles with some legs.
Yeah, and I had a similar problem with the part 2, like the salamander monster and the kind of fire golem monster I saw in part 2. Like, even into the commercial part of the game, which we did pay money for. We did give the money, and it is only $2 for this game now today, so that's pretty cool. Because I think the original cost was probably based on the normal amount that they paid. I didn't actually look at it, but I would imagine it would be like $10 to $40, somewhere in that range.
And I do want to point out that if you have the computer knowledge to get it running through DOSBox, Paganitzu, the first game, is on myabandonware.com because it's an abandonware game now. So if you ever wanted to check that out, and if you're like, hey, this game's awesome, I would pay $2 for Paganitzu, then you can go pay $2 for Paganitzu.
And I think, again, the comedy was hit and miss, but sometimes it did hit. Like, I don't know if you saw the end of episode 1. Did you beat the shareware episode?
No, I got to a puzzle.
You got the Red Sea.
Red
you got
Sea.
Route 19, yeah.
Yeah, and I said, you know what? I don't have the the mental capability right now to keep doing this puzzle over and over and figure out what I'm supposed to do. I had an idea of what I needed to do.
This shit could not be more 1991. So you get the Crystal Rose, you pick it up, right? And then you're like, oh, Crystal Rose, I believe in you. You will make me rich and famous. Because it's like funny. It's like he doesn't really believe in it, but he believes it'll make it famous. But he accidentally causes the incantation that summons this other god. And the god is like, now I will bring ruin to this world. I will make Dan Quayle the president of the United States of America. And like, oh my god, that is the 1991est joke that ever 1991.
For real.
But like, I don't know, it was gently amusing, and I don't know. I think that the game suffers from the fact that it came out 20 or 32 years ago, and today we have good video games now.
Yeah, but it's cool to see like where puzzle games started, because it's amazing to me that it started with games like this and evolved to things like the Talos Principle and Portal.
I would say the one thing I really didn't like about the puzzle design in this game, by the way, was the fact there was a lot of hidden shit. Like, you could brush up against something and it would teleport you, or it would be like a chip-awayable block. And even the last stage in episode 1 involved a chip-awayable block you would never have seen unless you just threw a life away.
Yeah.
And also, I think it was strange that the game had a life system, even though you could save state at the beginning of every level. Like, that seemed a little cross at odds.
I was going to say, if you didn't save state at the beginning of every level, you were going to be starting over a lot. Because there were certain levels where like you could fuck up and push a rock into the water in the wrong spot, and then you need a rock, and you don't have a rock, and there's no way to restart the level. You would just have to restart the game unless you had saved at the beginning.
There's a suicide button. If you hold F6, it does let you restart the level.
Oh, no, see, I didn't know that. So I would just save and load, save and load, save and load. Okay, so the one level where you start off and it's like, do you want to take the easy way or the hard way? Did you take the hard way or the easy way?
I'm going to be honest. I went the easy way, saved, looked up a GIF, went back and did it the hard way. Yeah,
I tried it the hard way a few times and then fucked up and I did it the easy way. And then I went and watched somebody do it the hard way and I was like, oh, fuck, well, I was close. But I didn't go back and do it again.
It does work. It's just, it's a little ridiculous.
Yeah, some of the puzzles in this game rely on some seriously precise timing.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't think that, like, this kind of puzzle game works really well with that kind of timing.
No.
Like, I think it kind of serves two masters and does not serve either of them well.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Like, my main note about this game was, like, it was good-ish. It's nothing to write home about. But for
I'm
the
not
time...
mad that I played it, to be honest. Like, I enjoyed a lot of what it did. But, earlier today I was re-listening to the Full Throttle episode, and, like, I was sitting there, like, today, like, man, I was a little hard in that game's puzzles.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I liked more Full Throttle more at the time, and I think it's grown on you since we've played it.
Yeah, honestly, I think if I could re-review Full Throttle, I would give it a full 7.
Oh, speaking of a number rating, what would you give Paganitzu? I personally gave it
I'm just going to give it a flat 5.
Oh, okay.
It's a flat 5. It is a game that is so dated that I can't recommend you play it unless you have a huge nostalgia for the genre. But, I mean, it did what it did really well. It's just, it did a lot of things it shouldn't have done, and I didn't enjoy it, and it's not enjoyable. It is a 1991 computer game. It feels so different from today's gaming.
Yeah, I gave it a 5.5 out of 10.
I feel good about it.
Out of 10 spiders. So, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like there's going to be a few games that we play that are on the list that are older games that aren't going to hold up. But at the same time, I appreciate them for what they are. Like a piece of history for computer gaming, you know what I mean? Like, I assume when we play, like, say, Ultima or Ultima 2, like, they're not going to hold up the way, you know, maybe Ultima 7 does, or, you know, the early Wizardry games. But I look forward to seeing how they were, because at one point, that's what people had, you know? And it's wild to me that in such a short period of time, we've gone from Ultima to games like The Witcher 3. Yeah. You know, it's just fucking mind-blowing. And like I said, you go from Paganitzu and Chaganitzu to the Talos Principle, Portal, you know, even like Bridge Constructor, like all these puzzle games, like, you know, they evolved from these early games that people played back in the day, and they were like, you know, I could do this, but better.
So do you mind if I ask you a couple of bonus questions for this episode?
Absolutely.
So I mentioned this last week, but we didn't get around to it because it was such a huge Mondo bad-ass episode. Like, it was like 3 hours long.
Yeah, it was a big...
But I said at the end, I thought it would be fun to take games that we didn't assign any awards to and give a best something of the year as a joke to them, you know? Okay. So, here are the games that I don't think got any awards. Planet Zoo. What would you give it best of the year as?
Best animal models.
Best animal models, nice.
Because I think they look really nice.
A really good, I think that game had really cool management of the money. I thought that was actually really well done.
Yeah, it was a good management sim. Planet Zoo and Planet Coaster, which we haven't gotten to Planet Coaster yet, but both of those games are very cool.
Yeah, let's see. We also have Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth, which I don't think you gave an award to. So what would it be the best of, if you could just give it a best or a worst?
Best move name, Poop Dunk.
Poop Dunk! Yes, Nanimon's signature attack. Then Pokemon Uranium. Surely there must be an award you can give Pokemon Uranium.
Most ambitious.
Oh, for sure. The fact that it came from this amateur zone, they wanted to write this incredible new story in the Pokemon universe. That is so wild, so true.
Yeah, and I think it's cool that, like, people just developed, there's a pack that you can download called the Pokemon Essentials for RPG Maker. And it puts in all the stuff for Pokemon in there, so you can use it and make your games. But obviously, they're Windows executables. They're not Game Boy ROM hacks or anything. So they're completely new games. It's pretty cool.
Absolutely. That is awesome. All right, a couple more. Dragon, a game about a dragon. I'll give it my own award too.
Best use of crayon.
I was actually going to say best concept for an art style.
Yeah, that game could, man, if it would have been better, that game would have been rad. If that makes any sense.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's it. I think we gave awards to... Actually, I don't know if we gave a single award to Battle Chef Brigade, which I think deserves an award of some kind.
Best game that Nate didn't like. Because
I would give it best lightweight game, best pound for pound. Because, like, it was a game that did not try to do very much difficult shit, and it didn't have to, because it did the lightweight shit really well.
Yeah, I found that really enjoyable.
Same.
That was also, like, one of my first Switch games. It was Battle Chef Brigade.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
That seems like it would be a great game to play mobily.
Yeah, it was fun. You know, you just pick it up and go and do a couple competitions and then set it down. It's good fun. I didn't beat it on Switch, though. I did beat it on PC. Yeah.
I mean, it does get a little surprisingly hard when you have the 3 judges.
Man, that shit can get hard.
Please. Move us on.
Other than that, man, I think the only thing that I have left is some house cleaning. Because I really don't have much else to say about Paganitzu. Like, I think we pretty much covered the entire thing.
Well, we should definitely talk about our Patreon.
Oh, no, yeah.
Make this possible.
Absolutely. That is my next on my list. And that would be a shout out to all of them, with a special shout out to our people who donate $10 or more. And that would be Nate Sir Cogsworth of the 7th of Juniper, Jeff, the original expendable old Jeffy Lube himself, and Eraser Adam. You guys rock.
Thank all of you.
Appreciate you very much.
Really appreciate it.
And that would lead to, if you want to check out our website, you can go to bit.ly/the Steam Machine Podcast. Just capitalize that phonetically. And that'll take you to the website where you can find all of our links, which include a link to our Discord. But if you don't feel like doing that, you can go to bit.ly/TSMP Discord, all capital letters. Join the Discord. We just had somebody new join the other day. Do not remember their name. Let me see if I can scroll up and find it really quickly. Probably not, because everybody's been talking about Final Fantasy V today.
There was a Bright that joined recently.
Yes, it was Bright. So,
and there was also I think someone that you personally knew also.
Yeah, and my buddy Dustin, Darth Thorm.
Yes.
Yes, but Bright, if you want to speak up and say hello to everybody in the Discord, that's cool. If not, that's fine. We appreciate you just being there to vote. But anybody wants to come and join the Discord, you can vote on our games of the week. I do a poll every time, we do a game. In fact, since Borderlands 1 and is next week, I went ahead and put up the poll because the game for after Borderlands has already won, which is going to be A Plague Tale: Innocence, which I'm actually really excited for. I don't know how much you know about that game, Wildy, but like, it should be a good time. Should be. So that'll be after Borderlands. And then we got another poll up right now, which seems to be, let's see. The choices are King's Bounty, Warriors of the North, Far Cry 3, and Elder Scrolls Legend Battlespire, Star Wars Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast, and 2 Worlds Epic Edition. And the runaway winner so far is Star Wars.
Nice. Okay.
With Far Cry 3 being not close behind it, but it's a few votes behind it. But yeah, it's looking like we're probably going to end up playing Star Wars, but we'll see. We'll see. Let's see. Other than that, you heard us mention the Patreon. If you'd like to become a Patreon donor, you can go to patreon.com/the Steam Machine Podcast. $1 a month will get you your episodes early, and you get to hear our little section that we do just for the Patreon before each episode. And if you donate $10 or more, you get all of that, plus you get your name read out on each episode. And I do try to do special Patreon things here and there, be it like episodes where I do music and talk about music, or I'm planning a D&D type thing that I think I'm going to do.
Hell yeah!
Release on Patreon first, and then do it on the normal feed. So that way everybody gets it, but the Patreon gets it a little early. I don't know. I'll figure it out.
I like that idea.
And
We'll talk about it.
We'll workshop it. And then if you want to get us, well, listen to me. If you want to get you a dope ass shirt of our logo, you can go to tsmpproductions.threadless.com. Get you a shirt, get you some underwear, get you shoes, get you a backpack, whatever you want with the logo on it, you can get. Oh man, other than that, I think that about does it for this week, brother.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you got on your mind? Any recommendations?
I just wanted to tell my brother to get well soon, man. We miss you on the show, bro.
Yeah, Nate, feel better, man. Feel better. And if I have a recommendation, since I've been on this goth music kick lately, I'd like to recommend everybody check out the podcast Communion After Dark. They release every
yeah,
week.
you sent some videos from them before. They were actually really awesome.
Yeah, they're weekly, and it's 3 DJs to get together, and they each have a playlist of new, basically just goth music, be it industrial or synth pop, like it, all kinds. Dark wave. Anything that you could think of when you think of goth music is what they play, and it's fantastic. I recommend it to everybody. And I think that about does it for this week's episode of the Steam Machine Podcast. Willie, I thank you for joining me. Good sir.
Thank you for having me.
And
again, as always.
As always, guys, take it easy.